and she'll love this. But asking her to move me, she's like, no, you're crazy. So I actually moved down, to be with her again. And, we've been together ever since.
Captain Chris Rodriguez.
That's me.
Hey, how are you, my friend?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
So let's start early. Tell me a little bit about who Chris is. Who are you in your everyday?
Typical Florida man, typical Florida boy. I grew up like that, catching snakes and gators. I grew up in Miami on a lake called Lake Mahar, which is the airport lakes, which in my day in the 90s, it was super popular for the peacock bass tournaments. Every weekend during the day, I would see the nice, like super expensive bass boats coming through. And I knew that I wanted that to be me. I'd be catching up from shore and all of that. But once I think I was 13 or so, I got my first John boat. I was mowing lawns, doing, work for the family. My mom and my grandfather owned the house next to each other. So we had a lot of playroom. And then I knew the neighbor, was able to get a little boat, get on the water, start fishing. And that's history. I like 16-ish. I was pretty much a regular on a head boat, party boat in Miami, which is pretty much 50, 60 people all gather on a boat from all over the world, tourists or whatever. And then we take them fishing. And I would go so often, one day the mate didn't show up and the captain's like, I need help. Can you fill in? Fish, you can fish, but if I need help, do it and we'll keep your catch. And, we'll add that to the tip or whatever. Did that a few times and then they offered me a job. Did that for a few years and then moved up to a big yacht in Miami, Seafair, over by the Intercontinental in downtown. And then that's what got my foot in the yacht world. And then I had to stick to it.
You've always been on boats.
Yeah. I mean, I've done jobs here and there. I've done construction work. I did property management. I did, landscaping, but I would only do that for a little bit and then go back to boats. I mean, I can't stay away.
It calls to you.
Yeah. We lived in Vermont in 2018, I think it was, for about 3 years, me and my wife. We lived in Vermont, and then one, it's too cold. And two, the water season there is only like the 2 months or something, 3 months with the water temperature and the ambient temperature enough for you to go swimming and enjoy a boat. So I was like, I gotta get out of here. I'd go to Massachusetts almost every weekend from spring to fall. Or if not, I'd go up to upstate New York, Pulaski, just to get my fishing fix in, and be on the water. I just can't stay away. There's no way. It's impossible.
Very cool. So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now then. You've always been out on boats.
Yeah.
But now you've made boats into your business.
Yeah, kind of like I said earlier, I monetized a hobby. I did a lot of time in the Caribbean. I've been up and down the Northeast, now up and down the coast of Florida on big private yachts. My wife is just tired of me being gone. So a couple years ago, I started a different business with a business partner. And then I decided it'd be better to just start my own thing. So our whole concept is I bring the yacht side white glove service of management and maintenance accessible for anybody who owns a boat. We want you to enjoy the water and not have a headache. Anybody could get a camera and start recording themselves, but the finished product isn't going to be the same as coming here and having a professional, do the work. It's true.
Let's talk about what that looks like then. So you work with boats, but any size boat, big boats, little boats?
Yeah, so I've personally capped them up to 130 feet. So I have experience on vessels that size. I've guided when I first moved back to Florida. I guided in Estero Bay for a while on, 20-foot Pathfinder and a 24-foot Carolina skiff. And then I personally own vessels. So I know the different demand that each vessel needs, and I'm able to give each vessel the attention it deserves depending on what their needs are, because a yacht starts at 33 feet. If you look it up in the dictionary, there are plenty of 33 footers here, not so many 130 footers around, but they still need work, they still need labor. There's a lot of people that have boats that don't know the extent of preventative maintenance that they need to do, because if they don't do the preventative maintenance, then they're racking up a bill. So a lot of smaller boats, will ask me, why would I use your services? Well, if you could pay a little more up front and save money in the long run. It's price versus cost. And that's a big thing for me, a big thing in selling boats and in yacht management. The price may be a little more, but the overall cost in the end is cheaper.
So how does that work for your customer? Let's talk about that. Tell me how your customer that doesn't use you, like, what is their risk?
I pretty much always say I sell peace of mind. That's pretty much the main thing for me. Anybody could, figure out, open a manual and figure out what their boat needs and, clean strainers out and stuff like that. Or you could just show up at your boat and it's ready to go. At the drop of a dime, you flip a coin and guess what? Heads or tails, it's still ready to go out there. I don't know if you ever been boating, but pretty much as soon as that boat hits the docks, your friends, your family, your wife, everybody leaves. And then it's just the boat owner with a hose and a brush, all sad, just as sunburned and just as dehydrated as everybody else. So we'll take that away from them. A lot of snowbirds here in Southwest Florida now are gone for the summertime. We got to worry about storms. I mean, the storms have been hitting now. Even if it's not a hurricane, just an everyday storm will pop up. I mean, you saw what happened at Cape Coral the other day. It's good to have that peace of mind while you're away, even if it's a 20-foot, 30-foot boat, knowing that 1, it's tied up, 2, it's still on the lift, 3, if it is on the lift for 4, 5, 6 months out of the year, it gets launched, run, and a sitting boat is a bad boat. Anybody that knows anything will tell you. I'd rather have a boat that goes out, very rarely than a boat that never goes out. So again, we just sell that peace of mind, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly maintenance plans, and keep the boat afloat.
Yeah.
Overall.
I like to say that my favorite boat is my friend's boat.
Amen.
Well, so
The smart guy has the friends with the boats, but some of us with the passion, we still need it. I mean, this is the first year that I don't have a boat, and it's because we're planning on buying another home. So we just sold it in December, but my whole life I've had it, and it is a lot of work. It is a lot of maintenance. They say boat stands for bring out another 1,000, but if you hire somebody like me, we're able to lower that for you and do that preventative maintenance and stay on top of things. Make sure your boat's not banging against the dock. If you just a simple knot that people tie on the cleat could be wrong, and then their boat slips and now it's drifting away. And then we also do like training and captain services, and there's a lot of stuff that you could do while navigating. Simple things like wearing a lanyard that if nobody's ever told you before, you just don't know. I mean, any Joe Schmo could go to Bonita Boat Center or Marine Max and buy a boat, and there's no real training that they have to go through to be able to navigate those waters. And people who don't know that get into trouble, but the people who take the time and do the proper training, they're as happy as can be.
So that's a service you offer as well. You do the training as well?
Yeah, captain services and trainings. Yeah, so we like doing kind of what I call hands-on for you, hands-off for me. I just provide the peace of mind again, standing next to you, going over what you should do. I'll show you how to do it, but what I explain to clients is if I do it for you, I've done it 1,000 times, 2,000 times. For me, it's no problem. If you're just standing watching, it's a little different. But while you're doing it, I can see what you're doing. I can see if you're whiskey throttling or if you're using the steering wheel too much, and I could let you know what you could improve so that when I'm not there, you grow the confidence. I mean, boating is all about confidence. If you're coming into the dock and you're nervous and shaking and stuff, you're gonna make mistakes, but if you're comfortable, the peace of mind, everything will be all right. Got to remain calm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the family.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the family life.
So grew up in Miami. Mom and dad split. He moved up north. I stayed with my mom for quite some time. Left the house young, probably 16, 17. I was already in and out of the house. At a young age, one of my closest friends, brother at the time, I was living with the family, passed away. And then at that time is when I met my wife. And then pretty much a weekend I knew. Other than that, she was the one. I was actually living in Vermont before me and her moved in 2018. I was living there as soon as I got out of high school and asking her to move up with me, and she'll love this, but asking her to move with me, she's like, "No, you're crazy." So I actually moved down, to be with her again. And we've been together ever since. We're going on 11 years now. Been married a couple. We got a dog. Family is really important to me. I still got a great relationship with both my parents. My dad started all over again. He's 50 something and has, I think, an 8-year-old, so he started all over again. So the brothers are a big deal for me. We're looking forward to spending the 4th of July with them this year. It's really important. My wife is one of 10, 9 girls, and they're all sisters to me also. I mean, we have a great relationship, all of us, and it's just a blessing for me to have the support and the love that I do, regardless of, you know, how silly or, you know, crazy my ideas are. You know, they always support, you know.
Yep, I got to meet your wife at one of our, you know.
Oh yeah, that's right. She subbed for me. That it's funny. I was actually working, but I was moving a boat from Turks and Caicos to Puerto Rico. So if you consider that work, you know,
Yep,
a nice. I think it was a 116 Lazara. I think is what it was. You know, so it was rough though. I will say that. You know, it was pretty much 10-foot seas the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, so you go anywhere and you know you're like, whoa, what's going on? You know, even me with good sea legs, 10-foot seas is 10-foot seas. You know,
Right on.
I mean, we were getting sprayed on and stuff, and then actually we had a crazy story. One of the craziest things I've ever experienced out on the water. We're towing a tender, you know, a Boston whaler, you know, a 30-something footer, and then every hour we do engine room checks. You know, we're all on watch. At the helm, we take shifts so everybody could sleep, you know. So there's the main captain, and then it goes down by first mate, engineer, etc., etc. And then from 2 to 3 o'clock, we did the engine room check and the tender check at 2. At 3 o'clock, my buddy Tyler, who was there, went to go do the check, and then he comes on the radio, the tender's gone, and we all think he's kidding. And we're like, whatever you say, you know, jerk or whatever. He's like, no, for real, the tender's gone. And then it sunk in like, oh crap, you know, we just lost, you know, this millionaire's boat. This is a big deal. So in the bad seas, we had to turn around and go find the boat, and the radar didn't pick it up like it would. I don't know why it didn't. It was, I don't know, probably 8 miles or something behind us, just drifting, you know, off the coast of Puerto Rico. So we had to pull up close to it, and then me and Tyler jumped off, hopped on the boat, and then because the bridle is what snapped, we had to actually navigate the Boston whaler in the, you know, crappy seas the rest of the way, about, you know, 4 hours or something, you know. So that was very interesting. So it was work, you know. I had to go swim, you know, and run this boat in the nasty weather, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every day's an adventure.
Hey, that's it. If you're on the water, it's an adventure. It's a good day. You know, I miss being on the water, but I think doing this, I'm able to still get my fix. I'm able to still get on boats, whether it's showings or sea trials, or I make relationships with my clients. So I'm going to go fishing with one of my clients now. And again, the training, you know, so I'll show him a couple of my secret spots, you know, of course. I got to plug him in his chart plotter, take him there, and then show him the way I do it. I mean, everybody fishes their own way, but I catch fish, you know, so we'll put them out there, chum hard, you know, and not gonna give away too many secrets, but you know, chum hard is a big one, you know, and then start showing him how he does it, and then eventually, you know, he'll be able to do it himself with his family, which is overall what I care about. I care about educating them so they could, again, have the peace of mind and be able to enjoy their boat.
Absolutely. So fishing is another big part of what you do.
Yeah.
You get out fishing every year right now, every month? How often are you?
So now, after I sold my boat, I'll do the land-based fishing thing, but I still at least get on a boat at least once a month, you know. I mean, I just limited out on red grouper last month, and then now in the 20th of June, I'll go out again for red snapper season. Thankfully, they're giving us a long season this year.
So when you go fishing and you take others out, is it something that you think that they can pick up on, or is that something that, you know, really you got to do it for a long time before you get that out?
I mean, you know, the main things, you know, are really stuff that people don't talk about. I mean, the winds, the currents, the pressure changes, that all matters. Nobody really talks about that. Everybody thinks that they buy the prettiest lure and the most expensive gear, they're gonna catch fish. But you look at other countries, these guys are using a water bottle with fishing line on it and catching, you know, these crazy tunas and marlin and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of education behind it that those locals understand, because regardless if you have the instruments or not, you could smell rain coming. You know, the wind shifts, the wind gets cold, you know, you could feel the pressure changes if you're paying attention. Everybody's got their nose in their phone so they don't notice, but you can literally smell rain before it gets to you. You know, call me crazy, but I believe that, you know. So we'll teach people all about that. The moon phase is a big thing too. You know, I actually don't love the day of the full moon. I like the days leading up to it, but the day of, I personally haven't done the best. And you know, in all my years, some people say it's great, but personally, I haven't. I haven't done the best. Always a few days before or a few days after. 3 days or so for me has been the best. Unless I'm inshore tarpon fishing or snook fishing, then the full moon is great. Yeah, but offshore, I don't know why. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So you grew up in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
but now you're over on the other coast, Southwest Florida. How'd you get here?
So we did the Vermont thing, and then during COVID, we stayed up there until 21, I think it was, something like that. And then we wanted to move. We knew we didn't want Miami. Miami is, we did our time there. We got family there, but no thank you. We knew we wanted to be further south, but I mean, during the craziness, everybody was putting $50,000, $100,000 over asking price and cash. So little by little, we got priced out further and further north. So we actually did right up the road from here. And we wanted a duplex. That's where the real challenge was. We could have gotten a single family home wherever, but for us, we felt that having our mortgage paid for is the way to go, so
Huge.
yeah, so we did that. So it's funny, I just spoke about this. It's a little bit of a sacrifice. You get a smaller living space, but you don't have to worry about your mortgage. So you could have a beautiful 4-bedroom house for you and your wife and a dog, or you could make some passive income. So we got priced out of Naples, ended up here, but we like it here. I would like to be a little closer to the water, but after seeing what happened with Ian, I mean, you just go over the bridge here, there's still no marinas. So my business took a big hit because of that. Before we had boats everywhere here. Now we're pretty much in Fort Myers Beach and some spots in LaBelle. Besides that, unless you have a private residence, there's no docks here anymore. There's just Sweetwater Landing and across the street. That's it. This, even though it's Fort Myers, it's the Caloosahatchee River. There's boating everywhere. I mean, people from New York and Chicago and Alabama, they end up here because it's the start or the end of something called the Great Loop. However you go about it, it's the start or the end. The Caloosahatchee River is. So there's a big demand for boats and just nowhere for them to go.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation.
Yeah.
If you had one thing you needed to tell a potential customer about your business, what's the one thing that the potential customer needs to see?
Don't want to beat a dead horse here, whatever the saying is, but peace of mind. I mean, owning a boat, running a boat is very stressful. Unless you're a seasoned vet, and even if you are, you don't want to deal with the headaches. Again, you go fishing, the boat gets dirty. You go to the sandbar, the boat gets dirty. You go on the boat, it gets dirty. It needs to be flushed. Strainers need to be cleaned. It needs to be washed. You could do it yourself, sure, no problem. Or you could hire somebody that manages it all for you. I'm not out there with a brush anymore, but my guys will go out there, make sure it's done. I'll go behind them and make sure that your boat is ready to go when you want to go. It's the white glove service and the peace of mind. You bought it, enjoy it. I mean, that's it. I mean, I'll end on that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chris. Really appreciate it, man.
Yeah. It was great. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.